Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back taking our very first look at the Tier 6 British heavy cruiser, the Surrey. Firstly, let's go check out our commander, Bruce Fraser. We have Nikolai von Essen. We have Norman Scott as our inspirations. We are running Beyond Range, Igniter, Punch Through, and Fixated as our commander skills, with Fully Packed as our legendary skill. If we look at our loadout, we are using Aiming Systems Mod 1. We are using Steering Gears Mod 2. We're running Concealment System Mod. And we are fully upgraded with the upgrades that are available. For the loadout, we have 3 heals, 3 sonars, 4 catapult fighters. We are running our community contributor flag and camo, which are only available to community contributors. Everybody always seems to ask me in the comments, so I figure I'd beat you to it. Stats: 35,300 hit points with a 22% torpedo damage reduction, which is fantastic for a cruiser. I believe that's right there with the Japanese heavy cruisers, but just slightly worse than the Iowa. Okay, Iowa only has 25% torpedo damage reduction. These cruisers have 22%, so pretty solid torpedo protection. Artillery: 203mm guns. You've got 8 of them in a 4x2 configuration, 16.2 kilometer firing range, 20-second turn time, and a reload time of just 12.5 seconds. Not amazing, but not great yet. HE shell damage of 3,300 with a 20% chance to set fires, maximum AP shell damage of 4,860, and secondary armament is 102mm 45 caliber guns that you have 12 of. They fire out to 5.2 kilometers, reload every 3 seconds. Maximum HE shell damage is 1,500 and a 9% chance to set fires with the secondaries. Torpedoes: you've got 8 torpedoes, a quad launcher on either side of the ship, which you can fire sequentially because it is a British torpedo boat. So you have 533mm torpedoes, 96-second reload time, maximum damage of 15,867. Torpedo detectability range by sea is 1.3 kilometers, so not bad. Not amazing, but not bad. 8-kilometer range is nice, but they're only 61 knots, so they're pretty slow. Maneuverability, however, you have 30.8 knot top speed, so not particularly good there. Turning circle radius, 660 meters, so not bad. Rudder shift time of 7.5 seconds. Concealment is where this ship absolutely shines. 9.8 surface detectability. That is pretty darn awesome. This is a heavy cruiser. 9.8 kilometer surface detectability. That's pretty ridiculous. Detectability by air, 6.2. Guaranteed is always 2. And detectability while firing in smoke is 6.4 kilometers. So if you have the ability to get into a smoke screen or use a smoke screen for cover, it's pretty effective. Armor: you have just 16mm of bow armor, which is basically nothing. Basically, you're good up to 203mm guns, but after that, everything just overmatches you and goes straight through. But I will say this: it's not the easiest thing to citadel in the world, because the citadel is not that big, and most of it's underwater. There is a little bit that extends above the waterline from midship back to the rear, or the front rear gun, so the sea turret. But most of the citadel is well underwater. And it's far enough back that penetrations through the bow don't necessarily get into the citadel. So while it is very lightly armored, it's still decent enough that you don't generally get death struck. Okay, sequential torpedoes, we already talked about that. Hidden, good concealment, we already talked about. And superior HE damage, above average HE shell damage. Surrey, the epitome of design for Royal Navy cruisers of the 1920s. Like her predecessors, Surrey's main battery consisted of 8 203mm guns placed in turrets mounted in a super firing position. The advantage that this project boasted was her armor protection, which perfectly matched the power of the cruiser's main battery guns. She entered service in 1929, and there was one of them built. So, let's take a look at it. It's not a bad looking cruiser. I don't really care for the superstructure. It's awfully large and kind of bulky and weird. But other than that, I don't actually hate this thing. It's a pretty nice looking cruiser, and it's a fun ship to use, though it is generally used in a support role. You don't want to necessarily put yourself out there to be the first thing everything shoots at. So, with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we are gonna be on Atlantic. So, we're gonna push over to the left side, and I'm gonna showcase what I think the British heavy cruisers are gonna be their best at. And that is support. They're not good as full-on offensive nightmares like, say, the Baltimore, or even the light cruiser, the Edinburgh. They're just not good at being the first thing that everybody gets to shoot at. And the reason for that is because of their thin armor. Now, I know it said that it had great armor protection, but that is referring to the fact that it is guarded against guns of its own caliber, which was pretty common under most ships back in the day. Most of the ships were able to withstand hits of the own size guns that they were carrying. So that 16mm plating is what they were already talking about with that, or at least in the game anyway. So we don't want to be the first person out there. Now, we had to slow down and wait for the Odin to pass, and you'll see why that was kind of frustrating. I even mentioned it in the chat. I'm like, okay, well, that's great, battleship. And then, of course, Odin has to drop torpedoes on me, because why not, right? It's what you do. It's what you do. And so I go over towards the left. I want to try to get over here, potentially spot. I've got great concealment. Remember, this thing has sub 10-kilometer concealment on a heavy cruiser. So I want to be able to get into positions where normally I wouldn't want to be as a heavy cruiser. We do still have the planes, but right now we're not going to use it yet. Now I'm looking over, I've got a Jean Bart out there, we've got armor piercing loaded, so we go ahead and take the shot over the island, knowing I'm not going to get detected. And you can see we've got pretty decent firing arcs. It's not amazing, but it's not bad either. And we get a good penetration there on the Jean Bart for 1600, so not too shabby. And we're going to try to not overrun the island. We are switching to the AT, which is the biggest advantage over the light cruisers. The light cruisers only fire AP. It's very good AP, but it really limits you when you are facing good bow tanking or angled ships. Okay, that is where the Edinburgh, the Fijis, all of those light cruisers come into really, really difficult situations. It's really frustrating as a light cruiser to sit there and you don't have a shot at anything. So you tend to use your smoke and your torpedoes and try to get close and try to outflank using your mobility and maneuverability because you have the armor to do so. You don't have that in the heavy cruiser. So you've got to be a lot more selective about what targets you take and whether or not you are the first thing that people are going to be shooting at. Letting our team get engaged with the Jean Bart and the cruiser that's over there is huge. Absolutely massive. We get another fire. The Jean Bart had already damage conned once, so this one's going to stick, and we actually set 2 fires on him, and that's going to be absolutely massive. So you can see I'm still trying to hit him over the island. He can't spot us because he's behind the island. So we're taking as much advantage of that as we can. We do have an Asashio here. That Asashio is going to push out. He's going to help keep things spotted. We do, unfortunately, here get detected. Jean Bart closes within 10 kilometers, has a beautiful broadside shot, and we know that the Jean Bart can use that reload booster, so we're not feeling very confident right about now. But we get another fire, and that is a huge thing with these heavy cruisers, man. They are fire monsters, but they also have very good armor piercing. So you can't sleep on the armor piercing, because if you think that you can give your broadside to one of these heavy cruisers because, oh, it'll be okay, you're probably going to be eating it. Now the Jean Bart gets taken out by the Asashio torp. Very lucky torp there to go straight down the bow. Every other one completely missed him. But we're going to try to push out now. We've got a Bismarck here, but look at the map. Okay, almost everybody on our team is on this left side. I have no idea what almost is, but almost all of our team. You know, sometimes you're in the middle of commentating and your brain just like freezes or glitches out. You know, a glitch in the matrix happens. That's kind of what happens there. But I kind of just don't need my planes at the moment, so I don't use them. So that's a big thing. But I'm going to use this smoke screen that I've got. Remember, 6.4 kilometer firing distance from behind smoke, or is your detection range from behind smoke. So you can really take advantage of it. Bismarck's getting ready to come out, so I'm going to have to... oh, never mind. He's going to kite away, so we're just going to keep farming him. If he does shoot at us, which we didn't get detected there because he was still behind the island slightly, but... if he does start to shoot at us, we have more than enough room to avoid. And like I said, these cruisers aren't that bad at maneuvering now. At lower tiers, they were a little rough, especially the Devonshire. I wasn't a real big fan of the Devonshire. And I know I got to get you guys a video on the Devonshire, but I'll get it, I promise. One of these days. But we're going to start turning away. Looking at the map, you can see that we've got a bit of an issue. We do have 2 people defending the base, but I don't have confidence in them. So I'm going to turn around. We should have this side pretty well secure. The Bismarck isn't really a threat. He does shoot at us, but misses horrendously. And then the team is going to be able to sit in front of these guys. And so I'm going to go over and try to assist the center of the map. Because at the end of the day, defending the base is where it is needed. You know, if you give up the base, you lose. Now, we see an enemy Surrey over there, and I'm hoping that he comes out behind this island. I've already got the armor-piercing loaded, or about to be loaded. He is shooting over the island with HE, and I'm looking for his bow. There we see his bow. We get the shot. Are we going to be able to take him? Come on, baby. I want him. I want him bad. He is going in reverse, but... oh, no, he actually kept going. I was expecting him to go in reverse there, but he actually kept going and avoided that shell. But it's okay, because we've got another one on route, and if we can hit him this time... nope, he's going to keep going forward, which is fine, because that hits him from behind the island and makes our team much easier to take him out, in theory. Now, this time, we take the shot out ahead of him, and of course, this is the time that he decides to sit tight, which is perfectly fine because he's just sitting there waiting for my team to obliterate him. We hit the island this time. The rear guns should have made it over the island. We're probably going to get a hit here, but at the end of the day, didn't do a whole lot of damage to the Surrey. Now, Bismarck's coming back in. We're going to take a shot at the Bismarck because we can shoot all the guns at him. And you can see the cruiser coming through mid. I'm going to go ahead, break off, and immediately start engaging this Atago. The rest of the team can deal with those guys for now, and as soon as I can eliminate the threat on this side of the map, or help eliminate the threat on this side of the map, then we can turn around and re-engage this side with the team. But we do get some hits here on the Atago, or at least one hit. He's going to go behind this island, and I take the shot over the island, hoping that I can squeeze it through the gap and catch this guy while he's slowing down to use the island. And unfortunately, it just wasn't happening. He gets locked in there right at the thickest part of the island, thick with 4 Cs over there. But the battleship just punches him, absolutely punches him, gets a great shot. It looked like he was burning, but he just damage conned. And we are going to look for the rear of his ship now. You can see I'm firing through the gap. Are we going to be able to steal the kill? Come on, baby. Surrey, you got this. Come on. Oh, of course not. In true Spartan fashion, we leave him with just enough for me to get another salvo off. Is it going to be my kill, or is somebody else going to yoink it? I say yoink it. I'm trying to yoink it, but I do end up yoinking it. Down he goes.
Enemy cruiser destroyed.
Now, I'm looking back over. I'm using my torpedoes to gauge which direction these guys are headed. Odin seems to be sitting still, so I don't need to worry about these guys at the moment. I'm going to look at the Synop in a moment, and Synop, I believe, just gets absolutely murdered. So we're going to start engaging this left side. Yeah, Synop gets undetected, and we're going to push back towards this left side. Now, this is the part where, as an experienced player, you have to know when you can push. They're all in terrible locations. All of them. The Odin's in a position where he's stuck. He's got one position he can go. The Surrey is in a position where he can't help shoot anything. The Bismarck that was there is dead. And there is a destroyer back there and a cruiser in the far back. So they're not in a position where they can really affect our team. And so our team should, in fact, have the advantage and push. But these battleships know that there's a destroyer there. They're not gonna push out. So it's up to me to break this stalemate. Now we have the Surrey here absolutely salivating at these broadside shots at the Surrey. We've got armor piercing loaded, and we get basically nothing. First shot doesn't do anything. Second shot, he's kind of hanging out right there at the island. We have to wait for a potential shot, and he disappears, unfortunately. Now, I'm coming over here to support this Iowa. Everybody has abandoned this Iowa, which is what you call not preferable. I've been in this location in an Iowa. It's not what you want. Now, we get a much better salvo that time, about 3,500 damage, I believe. So, much better shot. Surrey's just playing with fire at this point. Like, you're gonna die if you stay broadside to an Iowa and another Surrey. It's gonna happen. We get some really good penetrations. Again, we're getting overpins a lot, which is something I'm not used to in a British cruiser. But Odin is sitting here, and we're going to show him why British torpedoes are the nastiest torpedoes for when people think that they can just sit still. We're going to stack all 4 of these torpedoes and see if we can't get that Odin off the board. Now, we immediately start turning out. We've got a fire with our secondaries, which is nice. And wait for it. Look at that stack of torpedoes. That is hatred, pure and simple, and it is going to absolutely find its mark. You cannot camp when there is a British destroyer, cruiser, or anything that has torpedoes. You just can't do it. If you see a British torpedo boat of any kind, you have to assume that those torps are going to be stacked, and they are going to absolutely drill you. So, yeah, good thing for us, we're over 100,000 damage because of it. We start working on this Jervis. We've got HE loaded, and we are going to try to get this Jervis off the board as quickly as possible. He's launching torps on both sides of his ship, just hoping in a prayer to catch something. But unfortunately for him, we're not missing, and neither is our teammates, who are right on top of him. And down he goes. Odin manages to take him out. We've got the Surrey out here and a Miyoko, and Surrey is just absolutely begging for it. Again, we've got the HE loaded, and we are going to take him down with the HE. Now, we're switching to AP because Japanese heavy cruiser, I'm not going to overpin that. That is an absolute just paddling waiting to happen. But he catches me broadside with an armor-piercing salvo, and I absolutely lost it. I'm not going to lie. We see the torpedoes here. I'm going to probably take one, absolutely take one right there. A little bit of a dummy move. But we managed to citadel him and put him to the bottom of the ocean, even if we were a little sloppy there at the end. But we had a pretty solid game, and overall, I enjoyed the Surrey so far. 120,000 damage, 4 kills, just missing out on a Kraken. So if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.